Hello and welcome. My name is Stephanie Chalana Brown, and I get to serve as the director of the Division of Virgin Islands Cultural Education. I just want to introduce this project. It is called David Hamilton Jackson and Ahwe. It is an iteration of a project first stewarded between Miss Monica Marin and I at the Division of Libraries, Archives, and Museums. Through the Department of Planning and Natural Resources. I would like to ask Ms. Monica Marin just to come so she can be acknowledged for first starting this project with us. This is Ms. Monica Marin, and she spent a lot of time stewarding our classrooms and helping teachers have young persons use their voice as an art to activism project. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here with us today. Also, we had the opportunity to be on the radio with WTJX and analyze this. And as I reiterated on the show, it takes an enormous amount of contributions for a show like this to occur. This space that we are in is stewarded by Miss Sonia Deane, who is the art gallerist here. And I will reiterate again, although she sometimes gets embarrassed. This exhibit is going to be up for 2 weeks. So that means for 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, she will not be making any monies. Yes. So, but I just want to showcase that that is the kind of contribution she's making to our students. So I just want to give her thanks, and if she could come up and say a few words. Ms. Sonia.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. And this is very special for me because, like we talked about before, Chalana, yesterday with another wonderful teacher, we were all educators, and I have taught for over 25 years in the New York City public schools. So it's really an honor to be able to give this space and to be working with educators, other educators, to showcase their children's work. And it's really beyond showcasing. It's their own inspiration being passed on to the children. D. Hamilton Jackson is a very iconic figure in Crucian history, Virgin Islands history. And it's a wonderful thing to see that when educators get that, educators want to pass that on to their students, and for those students to figure out in their own way, in their own path, how they can be their own Hamilton Jackson, the Hamilton Jackson. I'm looking at one teacher who was in the room when Chalana and I were there on the first day of teacher opening school, and all the teachers were excited, and there was a guest speaker. But that day, the teachers were very excited about what they were going to be taking back to their classrooms for the year 25-26. And the teachers who were at the workshop with me and Chalana, they were going to be the firefighters. They were going to leave that workshop and go back to ignite their students. And they did a phenomenal job. So could you tell me your name? Baires. So thank you again for being at the workshop and going back to your school and getting the children to be excited about the work and creating the work. And it's really all about creativity. And most importantly, Chalana talks about this 2 weeks that I give up, but it's really more on a collaborative level. All of this talks about collaborative work. The teachers going back and doing collaborative work with their students, people who have volunteered their time. Last night and a couple of days, I've had people on my team gluing things behind construction paper, people in the community who own Creative Space, who were here at 8 o'clock this morning, drilling holes in the wall, making sure things were angled on the wall correctly. So when the students walked in today, they will feel the magic of their work. This is all about lighting that magic, that creative magic within them. So when the students come in, and as you adults also come in, for you to share that wonder of how great their work looks in this space. This is a gallery, and it's hoping to ignite that fire in the children that their work could take space in the gallery, their creativity. Actually, I had a little joke with Marlene, she's not here. One of the students did a piece, and I said to her, oh my God, this is like a Basquiat piece, because the position of how he or she created the work, it was so innovative. He or she was not even copying what he needed to look like. They just did their own thing. They were off the square of what he could possibly look like. So again, thank you all for coming out today. And for the two of you starting this project, you and Monica, I really appreciate it. And allowing Cane Roots Art Gallery to hold space for such a wonderful place for children's work to be displayed and honored.
At this time, we are going to give tribute through our national anthem and our Virgin Islands local BI March. Again, we know that today we are here to celebrate David Hamilton Jackson. Through the Division of Virgin Islands Cultural Education, we were able to go to both of our districts here in our school system and speak with our students. So we didn't just ask them to effectuate art, but that we also gave them more clearer meanings of the contributions of David Hamilton Jackson through our labor rights movements, through equity and citizenship, and definitely through freedom of the press and expression. But we also said that we are have many unsung heroes here in the Virgin Islands, and one of such that we want to start engaging in further exploring, making David Hamilton Jackson Project a bridge for other stewards of our culture and heritage. This year we will be honoring Rothschild Francis, who is also the publisher and editor of The Emancipator, which was published in the District of St. Thomas, and so we included him in the project this year. And so I just wanted to let everyone know that it is a dual project, and next year we will find another person that will, David Hamilton Jackson will steward his name with, to further have our students know about the contributions of the people before us. I am honored to introduce our Deputy Commissioner, Ms. Renée Charleswell. She's a Deputy of Curriculum and Instruction here at the Virgin Islands Department of Education. She has traveled from the District of St. Thomas to be here with us today, and she is my personal supervisor. So I am glad to have her today. Dr. Charleswell, can you grace us with a couple of words? Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. A warm and cozy greetings to all from the sister island of St. Thomas. Happy to be here. It's always a good time in St. Croix whenever I come. There's a special place, a special warmth that I feel when I come to St. Croix. In fact, it's like a second home to me at this time. I want to first thank Cane Roots Art Gallery for allowing us the space and the opportunity so that we can project and support our students. It's a community effort. Everything that we do resonates throughout the community. The community's involvement is important to the success of our students. VID cannot do it alone. So I want to really thank Cane Roots Art Gallery and all the individuals that have supported the work. Director Brown, we have been doing this now for what, 5 years? 5+ years? 5 years. And it continues to grow in leaps and bounds. So definitely it's an honor to be here with you for the D. Hamilton Jackson and all Ahwe student exhibit. Today we celebrate not only the remarkable talents of our students, but also the enduring spirit of David Hamilton Jackson, a man whose courage, advocacy, voice for justice continue to inspire generations across the Virgin Islands. A lot of times we celebrate heroes and sheroes from all walks of life, but it's a special place when we can celebrate our very own and pass it on to generations to come. This exhibit awards program reminds us of the legacy of freedom, education, and expression that is alive in the hands of our young people. Each student represented here has used creativity to reflect their understanding of community, identity, and purpose, showing that art and learning remain powerful tools for change. To our students, your work speaks loudly, beautifully, and proudly. You remind us that the story of all of we, which is all of us, is still being written, and you are the authors. To our teachers and families and community partners, thank you for nurturing these voices and ensuring that David Hamilton Jackson's legacy continues to inspire action, reflection, and pride. As we open this exhibit and celebrate our awardees, let us carry forward the same courage and commitment that defined Jackson's life, using our gifts and words and our art to build more than just a united community. I want to congratulate all the students, and I thank you for continuing to make history throughout your creativity. Thank you, and again, welcome. and we look forward to the wonderful things that you have coming forward, and more importantly, celebrating our local heroes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Deputy Charleswell. Thank you for being with us and always being supportive of arts and heritage in the Virgin Islands. At this time, we had stated before, Ms. Sonia, Deane talked about the energy of our instructors in our classrooms. Make no doubt that our students are getting the best of your education system with teachers like this. I'm going to invite Ms. Baires of Luz Rivera-Baires from the Foreign Language Department to say a couple of words. She really came with the energy, and it shows that this project is interdisciplinary because it's foreign language. For most of the times, people think that culture and heritage has to do with social studies. And through the Division of Virgin Islands Cultural Education, we keep advocating that it's interdisciplinary. It's in our foreign language, it's in our math, it's in ELA, it's in science. So we're happy to have her today as she stewarded the project with her students from the Foreign Language Department. Thank you so much, Ms. Baires.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Luz Rivera-Baires. I am a Spanish teacher under the Foreign Language Department for 27 years. And at the beginning of this school year, when I received the brochure of what was going on, what will be going on, sorry about my English, okay? As we are back to the new school year, I find out that foreign language teachers have to go to Miss Chalana Brown workshop about David Hamilton Jackson Ahwe. And I said, wow, interesting. So I went. I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed. That moment was so special. She even have to moderate us because the excitement of the teachers in that workshop was above and beyond. Each teacher couldn't stop talking, and then we heard information, and then we heard what we have to go back to the classroom and do, and we were so eager. So I said, wow, this is very challenging. I teach Spanish. How I will integrate David Hamilton Jackson in my class? And I start thinking, I say, I know what to do. I went to school, and I went very excited. And I say, okay, the standard for foreign language, it is the 5 C's. We have communication, culture, connection, comparison, and communities. So I took 2 standards. I took a connection, and I took communities. So I started to present David Hamilton Jackson in the class. And students, they were so into it. They were listening, and they start like, I know social study have touched it, and sometimes still a student forget things, so they need reinforcement. So they start like, oh wow, and they start to understand what is civil rights. They start to understand. I even ask a question. I say, David Hamilton Jackson, he was born in the Danish West Indies, but he died in United States, St. Croix, Virgin Islands. It was the same land. And they were like thinking, and I allowed them to think for a little while until they say, oh wow, it's the same land, it's St. Croix, so he was born in Danish West Indies. So, and they discover, and they start to speak, and it was enjoyment. It was certain time that they even felt empowered about hearing that they are entitled to the civil rights. Thank you that David Hamilton pushed it for us to have it. So they say also we're entitled to free education, and they start speaking about the past, speaking about the present, and what they want to see in the future in terms of education. And that was amazing. And they was speaking and speaking and giving ideas. So then I presented to them what they can do for a project to turn in. So when the time was due for them to turn in, one of them said, Senora Baires, can I sing? I wrote down a song on behalf of David Hamilton Jackson. I said, really? Okay, come, my darling. And I place her and I record her. When she started to sing, I discover her beautiful voice and how talented she can be in writing a song on his behalf. Then another one says, Senora, I wrote down a poem, but I don't want to do it together. So collaboration strike in. I want to do it with my best friend. And the two of them memorized the long poem that one of them wrote, but both of them knew it. And they start reciting the poem with so much power and emphasis. And I was amazed. And I said, this works so great in a foreign language class that I commit myself to every Spanish class that I will teach. I will introduce David Hamilton Jackson. And why? I was born here on St. Croix. David Hamilton Jackson was born in 1884, right? In the Danish West Indies, right here. My grandfather was born in the island of Puerto Rico in 1887, 3 years after. So while my grandfather was growing up in the neighbor island of Puerto Rico, David was growing up here on St. Croix. Then David did a lot of amazing things that when the United States was going to buy the Davis Virgin Island, he advocated for us to become U.S. citizen. So later on in life, my grandfather came to St. Croix, and my father touched this land being a U.S. Land. So thank you for David Hamilton, even though they have almost the same age, one in Puerto Rico, one in here. My grandfather benefits from the efforts of David Hamilton. And then I introduce also in my Spanish class the following. I teach EMT, English Mother Tongue. But I also have SMT, Spanish Mother Tongue. So I have a mix of students. For the Hispanic population, they are less. I extend my lesson plan for them because they need to learn more Spanish. For the other part, I do the lessons accordingly. So I explained to the Hispanic section where you came from. I came from Puerto Rico. I came from Dominican Republic. I came from Venezuela. So I told them, do you see, your parents decided to come to the Virgin Islands because we are U.S. But do you see how important you need to know why we are U.S.? Because the hero that we had in the past of David Hamilton Jackson. Thanks to that hero, we are living today in a U.S. land. So I compromise myself to bring David Hamilton in every Spanish class. And next year, we will come stronger.
Energy, right? Thank you so much, Miss Baires. That is so much energy. I enjoy being around her. And we never stop learning. I also learn from Miss Baires as well. So thank you. And that is from Luz Rivera. And that, of course, is in the Mecca, the Grove Place School. And at this time, we also have representatives from our University of Virgin Islands. I want to say thank you to Miss Kula Francis for being here, and Mr. Emmanuel, who we know is an immense historian here in the Virgin Islands, and he is also a friend of the Division of Virgin Islands Cultural Education. As I stated before, I don't do things by myself. I always ask our stewards to give more content and depth to myself so I can be a better leader and guider, but I also ask them to be part part of our school system so that it is reciprocal, that young people are gaining from our elders and our elders are gaining from our young people. So thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for being a guiding light in having me learn more about Rothschild Francis and for bringing Miss Francis, who has done immense study on this Virgin Islands hero. And so Miss Francis, if you could give us some more information about Rothschild Francis. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. And happy D. Hamilton Jackson Day, happy Liberty Day, happy Bull and Bread Day, however you call it. We are happy for this day. I want to begin with a reflection on serendipity. Those unexpected intersections of life where chance encounters reveal deeper purpose. A week ago, I had the privilege of traveling with a delegation from UVI to the nation's capital in an event called UVI on Capitol Hill Day. And while there, one of our stops was to the Department of the Interior, specifically to meet with Mr. Basil Otley, who you may know is the policy director at the Department of the Interior. And in that conversation, Mr. Otley reflected on the life and legacy of Rothschild Francis. He, of course, is one of the Virgin Islands' earliest champions on civil rights and press freedoms. Not long after that meeting, while we were still in DC, I received a request to present today on this very man. Despite a packed schedule, I felt compelled to bring some comments to echo Rothschild Francis' story and what he represents. It felt like more than a coincidence. It felt like serendipity. History gently reminding us that even in the climate that we're now facing politically, that our past still speaks to our present. Rothschild Francis was born in 1891 on St. Thomas during the final years under Danish rule. And at that time, he was not necessarily a man of privilege. He was the grandson of slaves. He was a cobbler with a shoe business and also a musician. He had only a junior high school education. But he was brilliant beyond many who have the highest degrees. He also had sheer determination, and he was self-educated. He was elected as a member of the Colonial Council, and later he would become one of the most articulate and fearless advocates for Virgin Islands at the time when our people were voiceless. You see, our people were excited in 1917 when the word, of course, of the purchase of these islands and transfer to the United States occurred. But things did not necessarily go as it was planned. What happened was the Virgin Islands would be governed by military officers that were sent by Washington. And these men were mainly Southerners accustomed of forcing or enforcing Jim Crow laws, brought with them that racial attitude and hierarchy of segregated American South. The result of the government was to treat Virgin Islanders as colonial subjects. The Navy controlled nearly every aspect of life: politics, the courts, education, and of course the press. This left little room, little voice for the people of the Virgin Islands. Rothschild Francis could not accept this. Through his newspaper, The Emancipator, he demanded fair wages, exposed corruption, and called for the end of naval rule. He insisted that Virgin Islanders deserved pure civil government. One that treated us as full American citizens, not as second-class citizens. Francis thought, but he actually brought the fire that the young people call as the fire. He brought that fire. He would actually write to public figures like W.E.B. Du Bois and Madam C.J. Walker to discuss the social and political circumstances of the Virgin Islands. In his letters, he highlighted issues of racial inequality, labor conditions, colonial governance, seeking support and solidarity from American leaders. But unfortunately, his candor came at a cost. He made enemies by speaking the truth. And when he was charged with criminal libel for criticizing authorities, he was denied jury trial because of the same reasons he fought for. He was ultimately forced to leave his homeland, his loved Virgin Islands, largely by the hands of a Navy-appointed George Washington Williams. But there were others. Rothschild Francis played a pivotal role in shaping the governance of the U.S. Virgin Islands, similar to D. Hamilton Jackson. He visited Denmark. As D. Hamilton Jackson visited Denmark, we had Francis who spoke to Congress in 1922, which helped to lay the groundwork for the 1936 Organic Act. Through much of his work, naval rule was eventually replaced, and civil government, of course, guaranteed us the right to trial by jury. His path was never easy, but through determination and tenacity, Francis forged a legacy that not only endured, but uplifted generations to come. Finally, if I'm allowed, I will leave with you one of the original letters written by Rothschild Francis to W.E.B. Du Bois that stated February 23rd, 1923, 102 years ago. It gives a clear picture of the battle to improve circumstances in the Virgin Islands. And I'm actually going to pass it around, as well as I also have original letters that were written to Madam C.J. Walker, handwritten letters, as well as other letters. So, it's important that we see live history. And I'll go ahead and read this letter. Since my return to the Virgin Islands, I have found our economic conditions at the point of collapse. The working people have absolutely nothing to do. Our harbor is empty, due no doubt to the quarantine regulation department, which compels our port to be closed from sunset to sunrise, and the rigid application of the National Prohibition Act to these islands. Politically, we are serfs, directly under the thumb of Navy men who cannot understand a people like us. Illiterate men who owe allegiance to foreign government can vote, but literate men and women cannot vote if they do not possess the monetary qualifications. It is impossible for us to have our day in court when the police judge and the government attorney is one and the same person. Referring again to George Washington Williams, our chance for appeal is greatly embarrassed since the Organic Act says that these appeals must be directed to the Third Circuit Court of Philadelphia. It takes less than $1,000, imagine at that time, to appeal such a case. And after that, the financial condition of our people to be taken into consideration, it is impossible for us to understand such circumstances to procure the necessary legal advice and assistance. Under the old regime, these appeals were made to the Superior Court in Denmark, just for the asking. Of course, here he's referring to the likes of D. Hamilton Jackson. I have recently written Mr. Johnson, Secretary of the NAACP, explaining the recent vicious attempts to bridle the press of these Virgin Islands, and requested of him the use of influence and see that the NAACP dispatched some representatives down here to study conditions conditions as they are and report immediately their finding. I also take this medium to know from you if the crisis, which would be the Voice newspaper, will carry 1 or 2 articles from my pen depicting conditions as they are in the Virgin Islands with a few photographs. Awaiting a favorable reply and wishing you a happy and prosperous new year. I am very respectfully Rothschild Francis. At the end of the day, we know that Rothschild Francis was a relentless fighter for freedom. And of course, we have been advanced because of his actions. But please remember, there is so much more to be done. Thank you.
I would like to say that Chalana was able to secure a very important treasure. Oh, did you see the Sorry, I thought my voice would just carry. Oh, I'm sorry. We are live. I'm sorry. Chalana was able to secure a very important piece of photography that will add to next year, and it's a photograph of Rothschild Francis. Do you want to explain how you got it? It was just a beautiful photograph. I felt like I was looking like my grandfather, my great-grandfather.
There's a photograph of Rothschild Francis in the back right here, so if persons wanted to see how he looked, So we're wrapping up our program right now, but I just want to give a special thanks again to our great steward, Ernest Gilbert of the Virgin Islands Consortium. I'm just, taking a deep breath because I was truly excited when I asked people that we see every day are part of our lives and our community. And I told him that I wanted to incentivize, in a general conversation, our students for participating because a lot of work goes into this. And we also were able to incentivize teachers. So today we will be judging the photographs that we see up today, and we will make a decision. And by Monday, the students who are going to be rewarded up to $300 in each segment. We have poetry, we have essays, we have media paintings, and we also have digital media genres. So students have, through the generosity of Ernest Gilbert of the VI Consortium, they will have large amounts of prizes, and also our teachers will have prizes as well. So I just want to give thanks to him as well. So we're closing off today, and I thank everybody for coming. And of course, we have a number of programming for the rest of the day. We have Miss Maria Aurora Stiles, who is here with us today, and she will be providing programming from 1 to 2. We also will be followed by programming by the Virgin Islands Good Food Coalition, and those 2 programs are for students who are ages 5 to 11 years old. When we reach the 3 to 4 hour mark, we will be engaging with Act Out Ensemble, and we see that their steward, Saida Carter, is in the audience. And 4 to 5, we will be taking a walk of Christiansted Town, which we know David Hamilton Jackson resided on Company Street. And the Herald was pressed and published on King Street, and will be followed by persons from the Virgin Islands Historian Society. Again, I just wanted to close off with saying thank you to all our students and our teachers. Our teachers, Shem Matthew from Ivania Edora Ken School, who did enormous amounts of work. We want to thank the Lumako School, 1 teacher to 400 students, and you can see we have a large number of pre-K to 5th grade submissions here, and that's from Miss Jenna Fuentes. And also at our other school, Luz Rivera, we have a number of teachers who also participated. So definitely our school systems from both districts are here and representing. Thank you again to Cleon Lynch as well from the St. Croix Educational Complex. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and let's keep celebrating our heroes through Rothschild Francis and to David Hamilton Jackson.